Hello, everyone. Marc. Uh, this is going to be an autobiographical little sliver here. I'm going to try to think of one. I'm doing an autobiographical series. I'm trying to think of one thing in my life and tell that story like a memoir or something. Uh, I was married in the late 70s, got a divorce because I didn't want kids, and I had said to my wife when we were courting that I didn't want kids because I was afraid I would abuse them. So we got divorced, and about a year and a half, 2 years later, my friend Ray and I were out riding motorcycles. We had just a group. It wasn't certainly was not a gang by any stretch of the imagination. Just simply a group of 3 or 4 people that went out. We were riding motorcycles, and very uncharacteristically, I, uh, we decided to go to a bar. I don't go to bars very much at all. I did when I lived in Ohio, and I turned like 20, or must have been 21 by then, I guess. I went to a bar in a little tiny, almost non-existent town called Minnewanka. But other than that, I don't go to bars. So we went to this bar, and characteristically, we parked our bikes, went inside. There's these two ladies sitting at a table, and I would have been what? And see, that year would have been, I would have been about 30, roughly. Two ladies sitting at a table. One of them looked like she was maybe 40, 42. The other one looked like she was like 20 ish, 20, 21. And I turned to Ray and I said, I bet I can get one of those two ladies to dance with me when I ask them. I'll bet you 2 beers. Now that was like, again, if I may say so, from my own point of view, it was uncharacteristically macho of me to do that. Uh, so so we made this bet. I went off to the restroom to kind of do the reconnaissance. Okay. Oh my god. I came back through the room, and I had been a waiter some times in the past. So I went up to the older lady of the two. I came up beside her the way a waiter would, and I leaned down toward her and I said, could I have the honor of this dance? And she said, why, yes. And there was no real dance floor, although there was an empty space in the bar. So we did dance, and she had on a beautiful a white dress with very large flower blossoms all over it, and it was very beautiful. I still remember it to this day. So we had our dance. I think I got her phone number. I did get her phone number because the next part of the story, she went about her business. I went about mine. Went home a few days. I called her, no answer. Long story, I called her several times, no answer. And then one day I'm at wherever I lived at the time, and I said to myself, for some weird reason, that's the last time I'm going to call this lady, right? Called her, she answered, and I said, blah, blah, blah. She says, well, I've been out of town. At that time, I think where she went, I'm not sure. There was a period of time where one of her three daughters, her kids were almost my age. She was older than me. One of her daughters' husband was in the Army Rangers and they were stationed in Panama. I think if I remember right, she said that's where she was. We proceeded to make a real date. She said, well, why don't you come over for dinner? So I said, okay. Having love to eat, as you can see. And she made for me, without knowing anything about me, my favorite meal, which is meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and either corn or applesauce. And so I remember sitting there eating this wonderful meal, looking out the window of her place, saying, she's a keeper. So we started dating. We dated for about a year. And there's another funny story there's a funny story coming up about my asking her to marry me. What happened? All right, kids. I'm starting to make it like I just write down here. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. I love you guys. I don't say that enough on my personal vlogs or whatever they call this. All right, so I'm going to close this out, but now I'm making it like a time thing here so I can tell which video is about what. And her name was Carol, so I'm going to put meeting Carol. Okay, and then, all right, that's it.